Yay. The Jeff Dubay Show. We start another week post-Thanksgiving. Thank God. I want it to just be post-Christmas as fast as possible. I'm not a holidays guy. I used to be. Now I'm just a Scrooge. Shit happens.
You got sad shoes.
People change. Fuck Christmas. Fuck people.
The holiday spirit has taken over the Jeff Dubay Show.
We are live at Devil's Advocate. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because I don't fucking know when you're listening. You could be listening a week from never. I don't know.
Hopefully not on Christmas.
Yeah, well, yeah. I should clean it up for Christmas, maybe. Maybe New Year's resolution to swear less on the show. But we are at Devil's Advocate. We are on 10th, right between Marquette and Nicollet, right around the corner from the local, as we always are. And for a couple months, the beer special here for us was something called the Widowmaker. And, they change seasonally, and they're tied in with the microbrew out in Colorado. I think near Denver, but I'm not sure. But the folks at Devil's Advocate, they get some of their microbrews from the state of Colorado. Jason, you got to reach over there and grab a couple of those.
I haven't even tried it yet.
So I want you to sample. I guess the Black Widow is now, I'm sorry, the Widowmaker, which was our trademark, and the Jeff Dubay beer special for a couple months, that's fallen out of season, and now they're doing the Black Widow, which is a chocolate porter. And I'm having the beer snob, beer connoisseur.
That's what you're drinking, right?
Well, Langdon's having one too. And Jason is he's like a beer connoisseur.
Ooh. Okay, now I drank way too much yesterday, so I shouldn't even like beer right now, and that is still very good.
Is it really good?
Yeah.
It looks smooth.
Yeah, let him get in on that.
It looks pretty good. It looks pretty smooth. I don't need a sample. I'm drinking Coke over here.
No, it's a good porter. It's not too powerful or anything.
It's got
good flavor though.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, it's usually gonna be super dark. It's a winter beer. It can be smoky sometimes. This has like a touch of smoke taste to it, but
Dude, that's why you're the host of the Pubecast. I'm sorry.
That's what I do.
The Pubcast.
That's what I do. I'm the Pubecast.
It's the Pubcast. Langdon, you had one. Tell me about it.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's excellent. Did you want to introduce us, or you want
to
start
do it.
talking?
Yeah, we have guests.
You're right.
We were trying to follow protocol and do all this other.
It is a podcast, so it already says who you guys are.
Well, no,
when they listen.
Go.
Well, there are some things I've tried to learn about podcasting as opposed to radio. Like, you never have to reintroduce the show because anybody who's listening 40 minutes from now was listening right now. So they're going to know what the show's about and who the guests are.
Sure.
So, I could do it to Phil. But
I was just relying on custom. I was letting it be your show. It's the Jeff Dubay podcast.
But
not to talk whenever the hell you feel like it.
When you see the names across your cell phone, you might be like, who?
Well, no.
There's that aspect of it, too.
I guarantee that factor is
aspect
in
of it,
play
too.
today, too.
No, there's a gone but not forgotten kind of a bit. Two old friends from the broadcasting biz have come by. They came by last week on a surprise visit. A week ago today, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the 1 week anniversary.
Yeah, it is. But I wanted to do an entire show with you guys because there's stories to be told and you have good times to relive. On my left, I guess it doesn't really matter. However you're facing your phone.
We have time and temp too.
That's really inappropriate.
Traffic and weather together on the never.
Never, ever. Langdon Perry is to my left. He is of K-Talk fame, KTLK. Back in the day when I was on the fan was 11:30 a.m. K-Talk was 100.3 FM. Now the fan's on 100.3, but back in the day, this is back in like when they had Jason Lewis and all the right wingers.
Yeah, well, it was actually I was there before they decided to all of a sudden let's be hard right all the time.
Yeah.
We wanted to run
KSTP
Talk for a while.
We wanted to run KSTP right out of business, didn't we?
Kind of.
Well,
they attempted to be News Talk for a while, and then they didn't know what the hell they wanted to be, and then it was all right all the time.
Yeah, then they hired Emmer.
Yeah,
right?
That was after I was gone. But
he's like a fat PA. I always thought he looked just like. Seriously, I thought he looked so much like
That's
PA.
Not a terrible. Yeah, it's not a terrible.
He's fat.
Tom Emmer's been bouncing around Minnesota political circles forever.
Yeah.
And so I've met him a number of times. I never actually worked with him there. And now it's something else too. It's not KTL. It's Twin Cities News Talk or something now. I don't remember.
That beats me.
They named it something else.
Well, now it's what's on AM now, and AM is a dying thing.
Right. AM's a waste of time.
That's what's wrong. That's one of the many things that's wrong with ESPN 1500. The other guest today, formerly of Fox Sports North, he was a sideline reporter, pre and post host, Ron Johnson. Ron, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, it's glad to be here.
I mean, you guys have known each other forever. I mean, I've known Langdon since when did the whole K-Talk thing start? Early 2000s?
Yeah,
mid 2000s?
2004.
Yeah, right when
maybe
I got married.
Right around
Jesus,
there.
Right around when
it was almost right when you got married.
I actually have via my wife, a Jeff Dubay I'm about to get married story.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Let's hear it.
And
And we're on a podcast. So
Yeah,
you can
she
tell this
told
story.
me this years. She told me this a long time ago.
It can be completely dirty. I don't
Yeah,
care.
she told me this a
It
long
can be completely
a
inappropriate.
long time ago. But I don't know the connection, but she worked at an eye clinic in Woodbury or somewhere like that.
Okay.
And she was at some party, and she doesn't know if it was some corporate party. She didn't know if it was a KFN party or some kind of party, but you were there.
Yeah, but there's a party. I'm
And,
there.
Yeah, and she was with one of her girlfriends, and she said all night, all you wanted to do was get with one of her girlfriends.
Really?
And you were just saying, you just start telling
Really?
everybody, oh, I'm about to get married. And she thought maybe you're getting married like that next week. It was
And I
very,
was trying to get with this.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're going to be in trouble. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. But, come on.
yes,
that doesn't
Say
sound
statute of limitations.
The whole
like-
thing.
that,
But yeah,
that doesn't sound like
and
me.
I tried to get her yesterday to tell me when exactly it was. and
Where
she couldn't
was it?
figure- She wasn't sure.
I'm not buying it.
But yeah, she actually
This is a
told
case
and
of
there was a
mistaken
guy
identity.
named Tom that
I
was
buy
there.
every,
Check this out.
every word.
Sounds
Check
very
this out.
believable.
No, when
Every
I
word.
was on the fan. This is back when we were at Bloomington. We used to be right there in Bloomington in France. Xerxes, actually, technically, it's Bloomington, 494 in Xerxes. But anyway, I digress. There was some dude who was out there posing as me and getting laid, and I was getting
Nice.
so mad because he was getting laid more than me, and I'm me.
I was never enough to get me laid, and I'm me.
I was getting emails from this chick who said that this guy that said that she said we were in the hot tub the other night and then you took off. I'm like, this wasn't me. I was never there, and it really wasn't. It was some dude saying it was me.
That's
again.
awesome.
How sad is it that you take the identity of somebody who couldn't get laid in a whorehouse with a fistful of hundreds, and in order to get laid, and you get laid more than I got laid, and I'm me. I should have been getting laid.
That's like the real Brandon story.
It is.
It's just pathetic. It's just
Very much. That's exactly what I was just
it was
thinking.
shocking to me that some guy was pretending to be me and getting laid, and I'm like
Meanwhile,
jerking
you're
off.
you going,
And I'm at home jerking off 3 times a day. it was just.
How do you keep it to 3?
Well, that's all I got in me. I'm old. I mean,
To keep it short, and we're not gonna name names
hey,
to protect the innocent.
Too late.
All right, now go ahead. Oh, is it over? The story's over, or is there more?
No, it's a great story. But we were out one. This is when we used to hang out on Grand Avenue. And
Right. So Ron and I went to college together.
Yeah, you guys
Just
went to St. Cloud State.
backstory, St. Cloud State.
Yep, safety
And
school.
so we've known each
the
other.
Harvard of Stearns County.
Harvard of Stearns
That's what we like to call it.
And so this was right after college. We actually lived together. A few of us lived together over in St. Paul. So we used to
Okay.
hang out over by Grand
Okay,
Avenue,
so
go
you
to
like
the
went to
Onion
the
and
Purple
Billy's.
Onion.
And
Yep, there you go.
Yep.
Wild Onion, yeah.
Well, done. What is it? Purple Onion?
That's a different place, but yeah, there's a place.
That's a coffee house on the
I
East
left there
Campus.
with blue onions most nights.
Jesus. God, let's class it up, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, let's drag it down.
Who are we talking to?
Yeah, no,
Well, one of our
there's no
friends pretended to be one of our other friends.
Okay.
And got laid.
reason. Really?
Yeah.
Was it because the other friend had
well,
swag?
Any more
it was-
information will sully the reputations of the innocent
Oh, well,
and
but
the
that-
guilty.
There
That's
was no
safe.
need to do it, but when we left the house that day, he said, "I'm pretending to be Brandon," and this wasn't Brandon.
Okay. Well, good for him. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was Brandon, I'd be like, hey, you owe me some pussy. But
Well, the funny thing is, we ran into her again because they
Okay.
were randoms. We ran into her again, and her one friend grabbed me and said, "Hey, that's not Brandon." And I was like, "Yeah, I understand that."
That's right.
And then she went home and hooked up with the real Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh, what a hoe.
Yeah,
She was not. Yeah.
So she did
She was
full
going to
Brandon.
get that
Yeah.
Wow.
one way or another.
And
she did
she was
full
confused,
Brandon, and
yeah.
then she did real Brandon.
Right. And she was like, "Yeah, I know. I was
If you
drunk
need
that
some, you
night,
need
but
some."
yeah."
Well, it's like the. It's
And
like,
they don't look any. They're both the same height, but they don't look anything alike.
It's like
each
the
other.
Pepsi Coke challenge almost. Did she
Yeah.
say which one she preferred?
We didn't get
Well,
that.
I don't
far.
know if she. Yeah, we never talked. to her
That
again.
story just vaulted to the top of the list of ones I never
That's a
thought we'd
good
give
story.
to any broadcast medium,
That's a
podcast, radio,
fantastic-
television, otherwise.
There's
That's a
better
fantastic
details
story.
to it. But yeah, we actually,
Yeah.
I think we met them at Billy's and went over the Onion. So they stuck with us through 2 bars. We met them at Billy's, went over
You
the
might
Wild
be
Onion,
right. You
and
might
they
be
came
right.
home with
What
us.
a hard up skank.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she was,
Welcome to Grand Ave.
she was looking for it, huh?
But this was years and
Maybe
years
there's
and
more
years
to be
ago.
said for St. Paul. Maybe
If it wasn't for Hard Up Skanks, I'd have a way worse life.
I don't think I've given St. Paul a fair shake.
Go to Grand Avenue.
Oh, Billy's,
I'm a
the
little
Onion?
old.
Come on.
I'm
The Diesels
46.
at Billy's?
I'm 46. What are the
That's
diesels?
fine.
What
We
does
used
that
to get
mean?
Long Island's at Billy's, and they were not Long Island iced tea. They were diesel fuel with like a
Oh.
splash of Coke on top.
Nice,
It was
nice.
hardcore, but the value could not be beat.
No, I'm sure.
It was like $5 for a diesel.
Yeah.
We called them the diesels. They call them Long Island iced teas.
And we're talking about 1999, 2000, something
yeah.
like
Okay.
I think Billy's is where we first had Red Bull,
I was
too.
gonna
Remember
say-
Red
Oh,
Bull
yeah.
first came out
Yep.
and they used to drive
Tastes
those
like
trucks
bubble
around?
gum?
Yes.
And it was terrible. The first time we had Red Bull, we're like, oh, this is never catching on. This tastes like, goat sack. And it was, next thing we know, it's in every bar all the time.
Well, yeah, like back in the early 2000s, I remember vaguely a night where my drink of choice, for some reason, I'm not a mixed drink guy at all. I never was. I mean, I'm a beer on occasion guy. And I was drinking, this is, again, 15 years ago, I'm drinking vodka Red Bull. And it's such a bizarre thing to take some, accelerant / stimulant, whatever, and put it with a depressant like alcohol. I mean, it's just like
Right.
your body's just waging war
The
on
nights
itself
that I
all
have
night
gone
long.
hardcore vodka Red Bull, or now you go to some places and you order
You
vodka
can't- you
Red
can
Bull,
only
and
do
say,
a
oh, we
couple.
have Monster instead, because now they brand bars with energy drinks.
yeah.
But every time I've done that, the night is just insane, and you sleep for 20 minutes and wake up hungover but
It's
unable
bizarre.
to do anything about it.
You
It is the
can only have a
worst
couple
feeling.
of those. You can only have a couple of
Oh,
those. Then
yeah.
you gotta get into something else.
Yeah, the nights I've overdone it on the energy drink / alcohol has been.
And again, not a mixed drink guy at all, but I remember we were at a bar promotion with Donna Valentine, and it was like sponsored by Stoli, and they were trying to introduce.
That's one thing I miss from
They're trying to.
their channel.
No, I know there were always parties. I mean,
No,
always
Donna
reasons.
Valentine.
Oh,
I'm
Donna
sorry.
Valentine. Oh, she's cool. She's cool as hell. She's one of.
She's really cool, and she's
one
a
of the coolest chicks
great-looking
ever.
lady.
Yeah.
And she's really cool.
It makes me think Tony Fly must be a.
You know,
just an
Donna is one
asshole.
of the only person.
Because she used to
people
be married
who
to Tony Fly. Did
Yeah.
you know
Oh, I
that?
didn't know they were married. No.
Oh yeah. So I'm guessing he's an asshole.
Donna's one of the only people that sent me any kind of condolences or hey, sorry to hear it, or after I got laid
Oh,
off.
she's
Yeah.
one of the most
'Cause
genuine.
you know how that
people.
industry is. It's just weird and
Oh,
bitter
yeah.
and backstabbing.
Oh,
and-
once you let go, you're a leper. I
Yeah.
mean, once you let go, nobody wants anything
Not
to do
Donna.
with you.
She was cool, so I have to give her props.
It's almost like being in witness, protection. You just disappear. But now I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. So anyway, Stoli was just coming out with Stoli Vanilla. So we're drinking Stoli Vanilla Cokes, and they taste like cream soda. That's dangerous.
Those are
Bad
unbad.
idea.
That's so dangerous. But it's also kind of a chick thing to go up and order Stoli Vanilla.
Yeah,
It's a
you should.
full-on
It's
chick
like
thing.
it's like grow a pair.
Do
But
it with root beer. It's actually awesome.
They were a sponsor. Oh god,
Yeah.
see now you're really making me sound like. But anyway, live at Devil's Advocate. You just ordered food, Ron.
I did. I've got the sliders of the day, which
Try
are chorizo,
Chorizo sausage with
Sausage.
basically cheese whiz.
cheese whiz on it,
It looks really good though.
and some French fries.
Well,
And the food's all from scratch here, so that cheese whiz
It's
isn't
not
cheese
cheese
whiz.
whiz.
It's
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
crazy great cheese.
Yeah,
it's
thanks for-
Amazing
cheese
good.
whiz.
Amazingly good. I mean.
thanks for
And I'll
covering my
take
ass.
these fries and put them with any fries.
These fries are
Really.
unbelievable. They're
Yeah.
they're
Oh, yeah.
state fair times 10. They're
Oh, yeah.
so good. But give me a sample.
Okay.
Give me a sample. Give me a review on the slider.
No, the problem is I don't like cheese whiz. But
It's not cheese whiz. It's quality cheese.
Oh, you don't know all his food picadillos.
Well, shut up before I
Oh,
sneeze
yeah.
on it.
Mayonnaise, eggs. He won't anything weird or slimy. He won't touch.
Oh, well then
Yeah.
why did you get cheese sauce, you dumbass?
I didn't know it was going to be cheese sauce. I didn't pay close
He said
enough
cheese sauce. I listened here. I stood right here and listened to
I
him
wasn't paying
describe it.
attention.
How is it?
I was mentally preparing to be on the Jeff
Okay, you're not
Dubay
gonna-
podcast.
Get all that prep to
It's
do.
actually pretty good. It's a little
Actually.
spicy, so the spice makes up for the cheese.
Okay, well you
In
can
the-
scrape the
in the
cheese
meat.
off the
Makes
other
up
one.
for it.
Spice plus
That
cheese
stupid
is
cheese.
heaven for me.
What,
Yeah.
what a nut job.
So it's good.
I didn't know you're one of these paranoid foodie.
I'm not paranoid. I just don't like the taste
He's
of
not-
things that I don't
Are you a
like.
texture? Are you a texture
I don't
guy?
like the cheese. I don't like the taste of the things I don't like.
Uh,
Well, thanks for clearing it up.
That's,
Brian.
yeah.
Some people like spoogy stuff in their mouth. Some don't.
Oh, Jesus. This, I can't
Jeez.
believe how on the gutter the show's
Yeah.
already become.
So apparently, if you like cheese, now that's what you're into.
I'm starting to see why you guys aren't in the broadcast biz anymore. Of course, technically I'm not either.
I was gonna say, hang on.
I'm also
Yeah.
spitting all over my microphone. Hang on. Hang on. Okay.
With professionalism like this,
There it
yeah,
is.
I'm
Right.
surprised
Should
none
we
of us.
fill time while you
Now
do
it's
that?
clean. No, that's clean now. It's
Okay.
clean now. I just had to get some schmeck off.
You're
it.
the only one
I
on it.
I spittled on it, and I got to get some schmeck off.
Spittled.
Yeah, it's like I make up Yiddish words. So anyway, when PA and I were doing the P and Dubay show, the joke, I want to call it a joke 'cause it's really true, is that neither of us would read any section of the newspaper other than the A section. So when he doesn't like the cheese sauce, he's passing the slider
No, he's just
on.
being friendly.
I'm being friendly.
No, he's
And
not. He doesn't like the cheese sauce.
He saw a fat guy at the
Yeah.
end of the table, and he said,
I was
he'll
like,
want
he
this.
needs
There's a
this
fat
more
guy
than I
at both ends of
Mikey will
the
eat
table.
it.
But anytime anything would happen that was pertinent,
A
news
section.
wise, yeah, even B section. Well, I don't know what's the B section. I don't even know what the B section
Local?
is.
Or
Is it
variety?
local?
Local?
Usually
I
local.
Yeah, I mean it was always politics or
Movie
something
listings.
news related, and so we'd have to have Langdon come in because you're a news reporter for K Talk, and you'd kind of fill us in on what we really should know but didn't give a shit about.
Yeah, I will give you credit. You were actually super prepared for a lot of those conversations.
I
I think
had to.
just through osmosis, or
I had to study.
No,
I
because
did.
it's not like you sat there and studied just for our meetings. That was the point. You didn't, but you knew what you were talking about.
Well, I could fake it.
Not a lot of people can go. I've always prided myself as being someone who can go A section, C section, and B sports, B news. I've
Yep.
been a reporter for both. I like to follow politics. I like to follow news events.
Chad
I'm
Hartman
a news
and Dan
junkie.
Barrero are
Yeah.
both artists in that regard.
Yeah, and that's always been something I've had a passion for. I will give you a lot of credit. A lot of people can't cross over. You always had intelligent questions and good
Aw.
things to bring up. And
Aw.
yeah,
I'm touched.
yeah.
This is warm.
That's great.
Ron's got a mouthful of French fries.
You're already on the show. You don't have to talk your way on.
Oh, I don't have to suck out anymore.
He's just down here just being an asshole. Just like, oh, you guys get a room.
I didn't know it had to be the locker room. We had to just rip on each other to make ourselves
No,
feel
no,
awesome.
no. I want to get into some stories. Seriously, like most memorable days, and McGovern too, because he worked for Mischke. I mean, he was over at Hubbard.
Most memorable days.
I mean, yeah, like the most memorable days on the gig. I've got 3 that I could share.
Okay, so I have a couple that come to mind right away. The first 2 are both actually sports related.
Okay.
So I got to cover the 03 All-Star game in Milwaukee,
Okay.
which was the tie.
Yeah.
I want to say it's 03.
That's the Torrey Hunter,
the
Robbie,
Torrey Hunter
Barry
catch.
Bonds.
So I was auxiliary media, right? This is before KTLK. This is back when I was with an outfit called Minnesota News Network. So
Okay. That must be that St. Cloud State Placement Department.
It really is.
Okay.
Called My Telephone.
That's the NHL anymore, isn't it?
What's that?
That's the NHL,
NHL.
nowadays.
There's-
Would you stop talking with your mouth full?
This is from the guy who ate fries the entire show one time.
Oh,
So I'm
poutine,
auxiliary
poutine.
press box. So for people who don't know, if you go and you're not quite in the cool kid club for
we've
media,
all been there.
you
We've
get
all-
auxiliary press box, right? They have a second one for big events.
That's what I was for
playoffs,
Vikings.
World Series, right?
No, there's the
Yeah, you
Twins
get
press
the
box.
baseball press
Yep,
box for
correct.
Vikings. Yeah, I used to get that too if I would go to Vikings. So I'm auxiliary press box, which in this case was in right center field in Milwaukee at the
Okay.
stadium, which was it Miller then? I think it was Miller.
Yeah, it was.
From the
It
start.
was.
That's
Yeah.
why it would have been there.
So, no, I mean, was it always
Oh.
named Miller? Because now they change every 5 minutes, and I
Right,
can never
but yeah.
keep
No, it was
track of
always
what the
Miller
hell's
Park.
what.
They got
So-
a pretty strong presence in Milwaukee.
I guess with
Those
Miller, yeah.
folks, yeah.
So it's in right center field. So I'm in the second row of right center field in the auxiliary press box, and I'm watching the Bonds, we thought home run, come up at us, and we see Torrey Hunter's dead sprint. And at the time, and I still think for my money, Torrey Hunter's about as good a defensive center fielder as I've ever seen with my own eyes.
Sure.
During those days that Torrey Hunter was with the Twins, I covered a lot of Twins games. And I had seen this Torrey Hunter sprint before, so I'm like, "Ooh, he's got a bead on this." You can just tell, like, "Ooh, he's got a read on it." So the whole press box, literally once stood up so we could see over the wall to see him come after this thing. And he's dead sprint all the way up in the air and snags it, and everybody's seen it from the other angle. But from the angle I had, he disappeared on the warning track because you could see just right to the warning track. So Hunter disappears on the warning track, and the next thing we see is flash of glove, snag the ball out, and the whole place just went absolute ape shit.
Yeah, and
I
Bonds
mean,
came out and tried to beat him
and
up.
was hugging him, beating him,
picked him up.
fake punching him or
Yep,
whatever,
yep,
and then the tie at the end of the game with the manager
Which was
going
the right
over
thing to do, by
Going
the
up,
way.
yeah, it was. They reacted poorly to it in the aftermath, but
Yeah, I don't blame Bud for that one. That's
No,
one of the
I
things
really
blame him
don't.
for. I mean, you got
I blame the
guys-
managers for not holding pitchers.
Yeah, exactly. Or the bunk rule that everybody's got to get in the game, so or not.
Or that you can't go back in.
Or that, yeah,
It's the All-Star game. Who
yeah,
gives a shit if you go back in?
There's no rule about getting everybody in, but yeah, you can't go back in. And back then the roster size was smaller, and you had to have somebody from every team, so your roster was a little.
Well, and they tried to make sure everybody got
Jiggy-jack.
a minute, and now they hold the guy,
Yeah,
and you don't
yeah.
have to hold the guy either. Just let him go back in.
Yeah, it's weird.
But that's a memory that
That's-
is
that's a
strong
good
for
one.
me, just because the meaning of the moment. That whole you don't see press boxes. We're all colored jerks. We're jaded by the process and by the years of covering sports and things. You don't see people get excited in the moment like that, and everybody stood up so they could see, because you could just sense that this was coming from our angle of seeing Hunter with the dead sprint back at us. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and for my money, best 3 defensive center fielders I've ever seen. Torrey Hunter is if he's not in it, he's on the verge. But I mean, the two fastest, the 2 most range covering guys I've ever seen are Devon White and Gary Pettis. Gary Pettis glided. I'm not sure if he touched the ground when he runs. I mean, he played for the Angels, couldn't hit it all, and didn't have a great arm, but he could run like a motherfucker. I mean, he would track him down. And Devon White, when he was early in his career, I mean, he had like these long gazelle-like strides.
Griffey early on was a really, really good defensive center fielder who doesn't get enough credit.
I'm going to be a homer and throw Kirby in for 2 reasons. Number one, he had a deadly accurate arm. He could throw a strike. I mean, he could literally. I mean, I'm talking the strike zone over home plate. I mean, he could throw literally a strike, a pitch that would be called a strike, from dead center field.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew exactly where it was going. I mean, he was the anti-Carlos Gomez. I mean, he knew exactly where the ball was going. And the other thing he did is he got the best jumps. He played a deep center field because he could come in better than he could go back. but he got the best jumps, the best reads. I mean, he was off. I mean, with the second the ball's hit, he's
Hunter got great jumps. That was one of the things that made him so good. I think that's a combo of instinct and really understanding hitters, pitchers, and what the pitcher's trying to do, setting yourself up in the outfield. That getting to watch Torrey Hunter for a long time as I did, and I had an affection for the guy too because he's a great interview. He seemed like a legitimately good dude. You can't say that about everybody I've covered.
No,
but Hunter was. His jumps were top 5.
And one thing he could
Roberto
do
Kelly too.
He in the Metrodome could take his eye off the ball and go find it again.
Well, that's the thing.
So to be able to do that, you have to know what you're doing. You're reading the ball off the bat. You can take so you know where to run.
For
you
guys
don't
who
have
play
to turn.
there, guys who play there, they read it really well off the bat. They really do. It's a tremendous home field advantage.
Yeah. So to take your eye off of it and then have to go find it again.
Yeah.
When it's the same color.
It was exact, especially in later
sunny
years when that
days.
roof was.
I don't know why they started shining the like brownish, tannish lights on it, because that made it look exactly like a baseball.
Yeah, it was. And then
bizarre.
there was all those circles in the roof too. If you looked up at the roof, there were little circles scattered in there next to the swastika in the center.
Yes.
I mean, I used to go down and shag batting practice basically every day, and I never once lost a fly ball at the Metrodome. I lost them when
I've lost them.
We'd go on the road, and I'd be shagging BP outside against a clear sky. I'd start losing balls. I was like, I'm not used to this.
I played a couple of charity softball games in there, and then you cover enough games in there, you watch pop-ups.
If you lose a
stuff.
softball, you are.
I've lost the softball in
The
that
big
roof.
bright yellow one.
Yeah, it was not the bright yellow one.
Then you're
Everybody calm down.
Helen
It was
Keller.
not the Jenny Finch softball.
You're Helen Keller blind if you lose a softball.
Yeah, I've lost the softball.
I always get Helen Keller and Anne Frank mixed up, but Helen Keller was the blind.
One was killed by the Nazis,
and
one was a blind chick.
Yeah, I mean, they both had it rough. I mean, they really did. Neither one was like running for prom queen or anything. I mean, they both had it rough. Both tragic tales. Okay, Ron. Cool,
I don't know that I have a game because I actually have never covered a single game that was ever meant anything, to be honest.
But doesn't have to be a
In
game.
15 years.
Coolest day
or
on the
12
job.
years.
Most memorable day on the job.
I'll tell you a couple things. There are 2 times I've ever actually been starstruck.
Okay.
I was in.
I saw Tom Selleck naked.
Well, you were probably struck by something else, maybe.
Better mustache.
Maybe not the stars.
Better mustache, upstairs or downstairs?
I didn't look.
You
look.
did.
I'm not a pecker checker.
Liar.
No, I'm not.
And before actually I moved back to Minnesota, I worked in Mobile, Alabama at the NBC station there for 2 years.
Okay.
Layla Ali was fighting in Mississippi, in Biloxi.
And you saw Muhammad. You saw Dad.
Exactly.
That was
after the fight.
That would get me.
You know, I was with an intern, and we were just kind of getting ready to leave, and then all these people kind of started crowding around and going crazy. And I gave her, I was carrying the camera or the tripod, I don't remember, she was carrying the other one, and I gave her whatever I was carrying and said, and she had the reporter pad because she was like logging notes. I said, give me that. And for the first time ever, and I didn't get his autograph, but I attempted to. It's the only time I've ever tried to get. For me, it's Muhammad Ali. It beats the hell out of getting Lou Ford's autograph, so I figured, okay, well, let's, so that was the first time I was actually dead struck by a star, and it was like I couldn't control myself. It was crazy, and I didn't get his autograph. But he was signing.
My only dead struck moment it was same All-Star game, 03 All-Star game, when they have the legends down on the field beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
They give you immediate access to that ahead of time, so you can go down there and mingle. You don't really get interviews, but you can talk, and they make you feel cool by giving you access. And I'm sitting there talking to my producer because it was they had taken some infield, and they were screwing around, and my producer's nudging me in the ribs. Andre Lanoux, do you remember that name?
No.
I do.
Yeah, okay. So,
is it
Yeah.
I do,
He was an intern for you.
I do remember. Yes.
So he was my producer there at the All-Star game, and he's nudging me in the ribs. I'm going, stop. I'm trying to watch the thing. And he goes, just look. I'm like, what? And I look, and Willie Mays and Hank Aaron are talking to each other, standing about 6 feet from me.
That's pretty cool.
And they're just talking. I didn't say a word to them. That, if you talk about idols, for me, those 2 guys are right at and they're just standing there talking and laughing, and they know each other, and and I'm just looking, going, I'm standing 6 feet from Willie Mays and Hank Aaron, and they're talking to each other. And I thought about sticking in there and saying, I'm doing some kind of geeky rube, pleasure to meet you. Can I introduce myself? Can I get in? And I couldn't bring myself to do it because I was literally so just awestruck by the distance probably from me to you right now is the distance that they're talking to you, and I was just blown away by that moment.
My most starstruck moment, it would have been really like early 2000s when the senior tour event in town was still at Bunker Hills, and I was just like the morning show sidekick for Yates, and then I just stuck around and did whatever people needed me to do after that, and we did not have anything set up ahead of time, but Chad Harbin asked me to take a cell phone and run out to Bunker Hills and get Arnold Palmer on his show, and I was intimidated just by the thought of it. And I get out there, and and Arnie at this point, he was not competitive. He was out there, as a ceremonial kind of thing to wave at the crowds and drive some people to the event and just raise money for charity, that kind of thing. And he was not a young man. He wasn't in great shape, and his game kind of wore him out mentally a little bit. So I happened to run into him in the locker room after his round, and he looks beaten down. I mean, he's sweating, he's exhausted, he just looks like he just shot a 90 or something, and he's just like pissed at the world. But he's the nicest guy. I mean, I walked up to him just like as timid as could be. Mr. Palmer, would you do a quick radio interview with Chad Hartman? He's like, not right now. And then he stopped. And he goes, yeah, give me the phone. Because he just realized, no, I'm not an asshole. I'm Arnold Palmer. And I just stood there for like 15 minutes while Hartman chewed his ear off. And I mean, I'm sure it was a great interview. But it was I just stood there, 10 feet away from him, just thinking, you are the nicest old man I ever met in my life. I mean,
the number of people that I've walked up, and that's a borderline ambush situation. Like, here, will you do an interview?
It is.
But the number of people that I've walked up to in non-ambush situations, and like, hey, next week, do you have 5 minutes? And you get the total blow off.
Oh,
because and I get you don't want to, but you don't have to be a dick about it.
I agree.
Because I've said this for a long time, and Ron and I joke about this all the time. If the worst problem in your life is media attention, your life's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
How about you, McGovern?
I guess I'm not really starstruck either, but I just thought of this story that I'll never forget. Is a few years before Killebrew died, he was in at KSDP just doing some liners or doing some kind of commercials or something, and he was all done, and I'm pretty sure people, a few people had already come into the studio, hey, how you doing, just kind of got the whole, and he was on his way out, and the person who was recording the ads with him knew I would want to meet him too, and came and ran and got me, and he couldn't. I mean, it was one of those things where you couldn't have been more gracious. He did not act
super
like
nice.
You little prick. I'm trying to get out of here. It was just like, hey man, so nice to. He was as happy to meet me as I was to meet him.
Yeah.
And that seemed like that was the kind of guy he really was.
I mean, he still got a lot of Idaho in him, but he did until the time of his death.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. But I mean, he never outgrew where he came from. He just was,
down to earth as a
modest, unassuming, down to earth. Uncle Harm kind of a guy, Uncle Harmon, let's say.
He used to turn the
Uncle
press
Harm's
box into
little
little
dice.
kids.
Seriously.
If he would walk into that Twins press box, he'd walk in and say hi to Peg and get a hot dog. And the Twins press box would turn into little kids. Everybody, ooh, Harmon. There'd be like a buzz, and because he was that guy that I think legitimately they had looked up to either when they were kids or coming up as reporters, or just a guy that they all appreciated and respected.
Who might be the best person I've ever met in this business? Just because I didn't even meet him because of this business. I met him because of recovery. Was Glenn Sonmore?
Really?
I mean, just the nicest.
Never met Glenn.
Well, he's not. I understand he's not doing great. He moved back to Canada to kind of be in hospice care. And sad to say, I don't think it's going to be a lot longer. And I hate to even think that, because he's the most gracious, most giving, and he would not mind. He didn't mind at all. People knowing that he was in the program. I mean, he was somebody who had a drinking problem when he was coaching the Stars, like in the early '80s. I mean. And he doesn't shy away from it, and he has helped in the last 35 years. Between the people he sponsored and then the people they sponsored, I guarantee he has helped thousands, gain sobriety, lasting sobriety.
That's awesome.
Just the nicest, most giving, generous guy, and just God bless him. I mean, he's, like I said, he moved back up to Toronto. I believe he's staying with his sister, just because he just couldn't take care of himself down here anymore. But just a few years ago, I can remember him just being, lucid and funny and just on top of his game, and sitting in meetings with him at a place called Hope's right in Richfield. It was a Chinese restaurant in Richfield. Every Wednesday at noon. Yeah, he's the best. He's the best. But my two most memorable days on the job are memorable for wrong reasons. Well, they are. They're negative. Well, these are not things to laugh at. I'm trying to set the stage here.
Do you want to tease this, by the way? We can probably take a little break.
Okay. Yeah, we do need to take a break.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, before we even take the break, I want to mention that there's a lot of real fine offerings on the Alive and Social Network, including Jason McGovern's podcast, which comes to you Wednesday from Burger Mo's and Thursdays from O'Gara's.
You got it.
And are you going to get your sidekick back this week?
She's supposed to be back. She's talking about having Wild tickets, and I told her, screw you, it's too bad. I would like to work before the Wild game, too, but I don't get to. So we're doing a show, goddammit.
Jason's salty today. But, obviously Jim Suhan has come on board, the Suhan Unfiltered. Go to SuhanUnfiltered.com to get his shows. I believe they're on iTunes now, too. But
yeah, we're all on iTunes now, I believe.
Oh, good. He does a variety of things. I mean, Friday he did a show where he he talked sports with Kevin Seifert, and then he did an acoustic set. With Carlos Gonzalez, photographer for the Star Tribune, Cargo, and then after that they did the live band karaoke. It was a big Friday, and Suhan was right in the middle of all of it. He did a show here last week after one of our shows, so he's all over the place. SuhanUnfiltered.com, and he and I are going to have a joint venture here shortly too. We're just waiting for the go ahead from the boss man. Also, you got Rusty Gatenby Review. RustyGatenbyReview.com, I believe, is the place to get that. Also at iTunes. What else am I missing? We got the Wednesday night music showcase with The Last Ride
at Shamrocks.
Which is a good time and phenomenal food. By the way, I just saw. The Shamrocks is owned by the same people who own the Nooks, and it's the same food.
Buddy of mine. Actually.
I just saw them on diners, drive-ins.
Had you not seen that before?
I had not seen that before.
And the one that Mike, the one who's talking most of the time, I played boot hockey with him for years and stuff. Yeah, he's a great kid.
Is he a Runyon? He's the Runyon.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he own Runyons downtown here, or is that a different Runyon?
I think that's his dad's.
Okay.
Like his dad
family,
and Casper's dad own a couple of other joint ventures too.
That's who it was. It was very cool. It was very cool to see that. Have I left anything out?
I don't think we mentioned mnpubcast.com to find ours, but otherwise, and iTunes on all of them, and I think that was about it.
Fantastic. Let's take a quick break. Back after 60, 90, whatever.
Something like that.
Folks who listen to the show, they know that I live in the uptown area, right down Pleasant Avenue, as a matter of fact, and on the corner of Pleasant Lake is where Uptown Pawn is. And I have been here numerous times, had numerous business dealings with them. It's just a nice place with good, honest people. Bob Jacobson, the owner, you run the place. You've always been good to me.
Thanks, Jeff. We try. That's part of our business. We're here to help people, and so everybody walks in the door. We hope we can help.
Well, what I've always appreciated is when people are nice to people who are the low man on the totem pole. Like when I was a bat boy, I liked the star guys who were nice to the bat boy. Right. And I mean, I came in here and you guys didn't know who I was. You didn't know I had a radio show, and you treated me great. I mean, just a guy off the street.
Listen, that's the idea with I think a smaller family type business. Somebody walks in the door. We don't want to let them see everybody gets treated the same way, and we hope that's the case. And we don't want to see them leave without. We try our very best.
It's really easy. It's easy. It's low pressure. Good, honest people. Right on the corner of Lake Street and Pleasant Avenue. You guys got to check out Uptown Pawn.
Hi, I'm Terry Daniel, and I've been a voice actor in Minneapolis for over 2 decades now. How often are you getting compliments on your voice? Now is the time to do something about it. If you're interested in getting into voiceovers, please contact me via my website at universalvoicetalent.com.
Back at Devil's Advocate, and we really do appreciate folks out there who support our sponsors, because they're the reason we can do this show. If the sponsors stopped, doing what they do for us, then I'm back to digging ditches. So whether it's Uptown Pawn, Devil's Advocate, Burger Mo's, we appreciate you soliciting.
O'Gara's
Shamrocks, all of them. Get to all of them. They're all fantastic places. I've known Danny O'Gara for many, many years. One of my favorite people. But he won't let me do a show there. Come on, Danny O'Gara, get on board. Get on board this freight train.
I've met Danny once, and I have a show there. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Thanks a lot, asshole. Thanks for rubbing it in. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. My 2 most memorable days in broadcasting were both for the wrong reason. I remember getting in my car one morning and driving to work, listening to Common in the Family Coal. Yes, I was the one. And Dan is talking about a plane hitting the World Trade Center, and I'm picturing like a Cessna, like hanging out of a window.
Yep.
Like halfway in, halfway out. Like some sightseeing tour guy had a stroke while he was flying some Yahoos around Manhattan or something. I didn't even stop to think for a second of the scope of the magnitude of the attack that was underway. I mean, when you first heard it, I mean, you didn't think so either, did you?
No one did the first plane, I didn't think.
Yeah, I did.
I thought it was a Cessna.
I was working, like I was anchoring a newscast, and they said something about it on the TV, and I look up, and you could see where the plane had hit, and at the first, it didn't even look like it was a big plane. They had a camera on it, and that's what everybody was thinking. It was a Cessna.
Yeah. I mean,
I was sleeping, and so I got woken up and said, "Hey, turn on the news." So immediately.
So it's probably the second one was when you got woken up. Then?
Yeah.
My uncle Kevin.
Tracy called me for your entertainment.
My uncle Kevin, he lives in Tribeca, which is a triangle below Canal. That's what it stands for. You know where Canal Street is? It's like downtown.
Yeah. Yep.
It's by Soho. It's actually, I think it's south of Soho, but it's in the Garment District, and it's about a dozen blocks from Ground Zero. And he went up on his roof and did like live reports on our show, on the P and Dubay show for us. Wow. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, when I don't want to cut your story off.
No, okay. That's really it.
When that happened, I was living in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, working at the ABC Fox duopoly there. But Shanksville, Flight 93, which went down in Shanksville, was about 25 miles from where we were. So that was actually in our immediate market. So, and I was working at a local news station there. So just the I guess the perspective of being there in a market where a plane just went, that day was just insane as far just from a news perspective, and you probably can relate to this too. It's hard to understand, maybe like when the bomb went off in St. Cloud or whatever that was. It's hard to understand the
bombed St. Cloud?
It wasn't a bomb, it was an explosion.
No, it was like a gas line explosion.
But
We'll
it's hard to understand the
bomb St.
magnitude of what's going on because you're watching it from a news reporter, journalist type perspective. And I think so just to deal with that day, after a while, you have to kind of figure out, okay, this is what happened. So it's just kind of a crazy situation because I was a sports anchor, but everybody was all hands on deck doing news that day and just trying to figure out what was going on. And at the end of the day, figure out, this is the greatest tragedy that's ever occurred in our country. So it was just a crazy perspective. But yeah, very close to where Flight 93
I'll tell you another crazy day. And this is more of a humorous sense. It was 1994. And I had just started at the Fan. We were in Frontenac, which was a house in St. Paul. It's a house in St. Paul. And like upstairs is K102 and downstairs in the basement with mice. I mean, I saw mice all the time. I'm there at night. Mice are running around. I'm downstairs is the Fan. And I've been there like a couple of weeks.
It's not radio till you've worked in a shitty building.
And I took
in a shitty job for no money.
Yeah, well, I took this job for
we've all done that.
I took it it was $6.50 an hour at the time because minimum wage that's where it was. And I was a board op. I just basically came in at night and pushed buttons during the Ron Barr show. Get some carts ready, play some commercials off carts for the Ron Barr show, which is a network show. I think it was out of San Francisco or something. But I mean, it still scared the hell out of me. I mean, the bottom line is like a live show ends and a producer leaves the room and then I come in and now for the next 5 hours I'm in charge of K-Fan. I mean, I was scared shitless. But nonetheless, it was paint by numbers for the most part. Then one night, fucking OJ gets in a white Bronco. After everybody leaves, and I'm sitting there by myself, and all of a sudden, two of the most uptight people you'll ever work with in radio, Thor Tolo and Tim Spence.
I know Thor.
Come charging into the studio, going just ape shit about what's going on. And I mean, I love both the guys. They're both good guys, but I mean, Tim Spence scared the hell out of everybody. He's still doing sports radio, I think, in Denver, but I'm not exactly sure. But he did like the Fan Outdoor stuff, and he did Vikings football. I mean, he was a big-time producer, great guy, but he was really intense in the studio. And I've been there for 2 fucking weeks, and we're tapping into a network feed of a slow-speed car chase, and Thor Tolo's in the studio giving me all these signs, like, bring it down a little, we'll bring it up a little, just, and Tim Spence says, watch him, keep an eye on him, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I've been here for 2 fucking weeks, I just got out of Brown, relax, I'm going to put a gun in my mouth if you guys don't come. And then it just so happened, I mean, this is, talk about fortuitous, Michelle Tafoya, who I have all the respect in the world for, she happened to be flying to L.A. that night to vacation, to visit her family. I mean, just to visit, loved ones. And she gets off the plane in the middle of this shit, and we get a hold of her on her cell phone and get her to OJ's house before OJ. So she's there when the Bronco pulls up. So she's on the scene. We sounded
Did
fucking
she just
huge.
know where OJ lived?
We sounded huge. Yeah. I mean, we just follow the sirens. I mean, we sounded so huge. We're going live on the scene as Michelle Tafoya, like we knew it was going to happen.
That's great.
Like we paid AC to do it that night or something. It was unbelievable. Wow. You know who I am. Wasn't that the line? AC?
Yeah, you know who I am, goddammit.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I'm OJ's whatever. No. So anyway, just one more. I'll just throw out real quickly. Was the day that Corey Stringer collapsed at training camp, and that was a tough one. Because PA and I are sitting out. We did the shows outside, and it was hot. I mean, it was horrible. We're like in a little. Those little. It's not a tent, but it's like a little.
It's the shelter.
Yeah, you set it up every day. It's just it pops. It's like you see
a party tent,
a camping tent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the ones you put in your backyard that have no bottom or side.
Right.
Yes,
it's just
correct.
a top
Correct.
With legs.
It's 4 aluminum sticks and a roof.
Right.
And we're sitting under that, doing the show, and it just. I mean, we're just dying. I mean, just sweat's pouring off us.
That's a bad analogy.
Yeah,
you're dying.
But all of a sudden, the ambulances go tearing down the street right in front of us. The street that runs between, the Taylor Center, and it wasn't the Taylor Center then, but it is now. The basketball.
Yeah, the basketball field.
And the practice fields. I mean, just like a bat out of hell. I mean, this ambulance goes tearing. I mean, if you dug out the tapes, you could still hear it on mic. And we're just like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, we found out once we left the air. We didn't know when we were still on the air. If I remember correctly, we didn't know that Corey Stringer was having severe heat stroke and slipping into a coma. And I always say, people think that Chris Carter was some sort of mentor to Randy Moss, and he wasn't. They hate each other. There's no love there. Randy Moss thinks Chris Carter's an asshole, and guess what? Chris Carter is an asshole. But you know who Randy Moss's big brother was Corey Stringer.
Right.
And if Corey Stringer doesn't die that day, Randy Moss's career in Minnesota is completely different. I mean, he wasn't a troublemaker back then. He wasn't going off. I mean, he always had a chip on his shoulder. And anybody saw Rand University, the show on ESPN recently, which was really good and really telling. I mean, you knew he always had a chip on his shoulder because he came from a racist community. He had the troubles getting booted from Notre Dame and Florida State, and in and out of court, and some problems in his late teens, early 20s. And he came to the NFL with a chip on his shoulder, but Corey Stringer kept him in line. I mean, he was big brother. I mean, he was just like, Corey. I mean, I wasn't privy to the conversations, but he just basically let Randy know. I mean, you could be pissed, just don't be pissed around the media. Don't be, the straight cash homeboy and all that stuff. That's after Corey was gone. Yeah. I mean, the last year he was here with that blow up at the caterer. I mean,
well, he was in
none of this shit
full
happens.
on tears when he was talking about Corey Stringer.
He was dying. I mean, he was bawling. He took it harder than anybody. He took it harder than anybody. I mean, Denny Green took it hard, and everybody took it hard. But I mean, the guys who were affected the most. I mean, I don't think anybody was affected more than Randy Moss. I mean, Corey Stringer was his big brother. That's all I can say. I mean, and I don't think Randy Moss struggles with some of the things off the field that he struggled with, or with fan relations, with media relations.
Nobody plants that weed in his car.
See, I don't. Well, and then
he swerves from the traffic cop.
Yeah,
he swerves away from the traffic cop instead of indoor.
And he doesn't.
If Corey Stringer's riding in the passenger seat, that car's biased to the right.
Well,
anyway.
and he doesn't go to a press conference and say the NFL knows what Randy Moss does with marijuana.
Right.
Which they did. I mean, they know they know everybody.
I can't believe the NFL gives a shit anymore.
They don't.
Smokes weed.
They don't. They intentionally.
Not anymore.
Percy Harvin smokes as much weed as Cheech and or Chong ever did.
Right.
I'm telling you. I mean, the fact that he got traded to Seattle.
If you got migraines, you might as well.
Well, he never had migraines. That was a bunch of shit. He's never.
My understanding was actually that he did suffer from migraines, but weed was the medication.
Well, I mean,
and that's legit.
Well,
I'm fine with that.
Well, it's not in Minnesota. It's not.
He's an ass, but that's separate from having migraines and
he's a terrible human being. He's a terrible human being. But the point is,
he's just an asshole. I don't know if he's terrible. I don't know if he beats puppies.
Well, he threw a big, heavy barbell weight at Brad Childress, trying to.
A lot of people who are good human beings would want to throw a barbell at Brad Childress.
Well, I guess not all are capable.
Not a disqualifier.
I was always trying to be.
Most people just can't lift a 45-pound barbell and throw it.
I was always trying to be half full about that. Instead saying, hey, the guy can throw a weight across the room. That's pretty sweet for a receiver.
And at Brad Childress, shit, most of us would take the chance.
But I mean, the fact that guys like Percy Harvin, who smoke like a chimney, I mean, who basically chain smoke weed, that they never gets caught or suspended. That the NFL does not ever want to suspend a guy for smoking weed,
unless you're
especially
a
star. I mean, if it's a star like Percy Harvin and Randy Moss, they let him know. Hey,
where's your life if you're an NFL player who's got to go to the airport with a fake cock?
I know.
Ontario Smith is one of my all-time favorites. Nobody talks about it enough. The guy was walking around with a giant fake cock.
A Wizinator.
I think it got talked about quite a bit.
I think it did. Yeah.
I know
we talked about it.
There was no there wasn't enough.
I guess there wasn't Twitter and there wasn't.
But that's the hypocrisy.
That's true. That's true. It didn't go viral.
That's the hypocrisy of the NFL. If you are a star of a certain level, like a Percy Harvin or Randy Moss, they're not going to catch you peeing dirty. They're going to let you know we're coming, so clean it up. Go to down to the valley and get yourself some juice. Whatever it takes to clean you up.
Right. And certainly when you're out on bond, don't tell the tester that you've been smoking weed.
Yeah, that's
right?
just
brilliant.
I think Randy Moss would even have known that.
I think we've absolutely come to the conclusion that Adrian Peterson's an idiot. I mean, a complete. I don't think he's a bad guy.
I don't think there's a different conclusion to come to.
No, he's a well-meaning idiot. I mean, I really don't think he's a bad guy. He's not a monster. He's not a child abuser. He's just dumb.
He's Huey, that giant duck from the cartoons.
And he thinks it's okay to just crush every bone in your hand when he shakes your hand. I mean, that's not good. I would never shake the man's hand again. But it hurt for days, and I'm not exagerating.
But every sportscaster in town
I was a lefty.
I was
for 3 days. I was a lefty.
Right. How he's got such a massive grip. So
it hurts. It hurts bad. It's fucked up.
I don't know.
I don't know why he wants. That's
what everybody likes to brag about.
I was jerking off with my left hand for 3 days because the right hand was out of. It was
That's
out
rough.
of.
Did you get disability for that?
It was out of commission. And I'm not very coordinated with my left hand. But that's we don't need to even go there right now. But those are probably my. Oh, and then there was also a show we did after the Gophers won the national title in 2003.
Yeah.
I drove overnight all night to get home, and I made it to the show. It was happened to be a show from the X because there was a Wild game that night. and I like just walked in and showed up right at 9. They didn't think I was coming, and we drove all night so I could be there. But I mean, I did like an hour of the show, and then they sent me home. So I was like, I was so tired and hungover.
You know, the 02 title game is the single best sporting event I maybe have ever been to.
Yeah.
When they won that one in the X, and the place just erupted, and it was, you were there.
Yeah.
It was just the atmosphere. And I'm not a hockey guy. I like hockey fine, but I'm not a hockey guy. I didn't play hockey. I've never been in that scene. But that atmosphere at that game was unbelievable.
Yeah.
People in the press, but that was another one that won over the press box. People standing up and
Yeah,
trying not
yeah,
to cheer,
probably.
but it was amazing, especially in that venue, in that building, which is fantastic. And that's a top 3 actual sporting event that I've been to.
What year was it when Blake Wheeler won the Final 5 laying on his face?
Oh God, good question. 07?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right around
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty amazing. That was pretty amazing. The cool thing about Gopher hockey is you're typically dealing with good dudes. I mean, like I think about that 2002 game. Kowalska and Patolny are two of the best guys I've ever met. I mean, just super guys, both of them. Leo, I mean, just Johnny Pope. You cannot be a better person than Johnny Pope.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean, it was just you can't have a better group. And I don't know that I've ever dealt with anybody who's more straightforward, honest, respectful than Don Lucia. I mean, there's nothing bad about dealing with Don Lucia.
You know what story popped into my head when you were talking about that, and it's not a moment necessarily.
And by the way, Ron, you can talk once in a while too.
He's still eating over there.
I mean, we're not racist around here. You get equal time.
A story that popped into my head when you were saying that just now is, and it's
You are black, aren't you?
I never asked.
wow, it's 2 weeks in a row.
I know.
You take heat.
And he was talking about how
Oh, it's just
Marshawn
a
Lynch is giving a hard time
to Russell Wilson
for not being black.
Right.
He's sitting there.
And now he's doing it.
And now you're the new Marshawn Lynch.
I am not.
You're a thug.
Did you ever think you were going to be compared to Marshawn Lynch?
But I'm trying
You're
to
a
build.
thug.
No,
You're a gangster.
He tears Russell Wilson down. I'm trying to build Ron up.
That's what you were doing.
Yeah, I'm built.
None of us noticed, but
I'm trying to
He's
get
a
him to talk.
grown-ass man. He's
built,
fully
yeah.
built.
I'm just messing with you. So then we're going to tell a story, Langdon. Go ahead and bore us.
Where the hell was I going? Go ahead.
You're going to tell probably the monkey story.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for hockey. So it made me think of covering the Wild their first couple of seasons. Darby Hendrickson was on that team, and Sergei Zholtak was there. And Darby, one of the better guys I've ever covered, legitimately good dude. Sergei Zholtak was a good player to cover. His English was middle of the road for an
How
NHL
sad.
guy.
How tragic, though.
Right.
That was.
And
They got 3 former dead players now.
yeah, it's amazing.
3 that I can think of. Pavel Dimitra,
Zholtak,
and Bugard.
Bugard.
Sad.
So Zholtak had one of my favorite quotes of all time. And it was right at the end of his last season here before the strike, because during the strike, him and Darby went and played together in Europe.
Darby, by the way, the nicest human being in the world.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
Probably nicer than Glenn Sonmore and Harmon Killebrew put together.
Darby's a really good dude. And Sergei and Darby knew each other pretty well, but they went and played together during that strike-shortened season in, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, sure.
2, 3.
Whatever.
And Sergei gave me one of my favorite quotes of all time. They had trouble, if you remember, those first couple of years beating the Canucks. Couldn't beat the Canucks ever. They owned them. They came out in the regular season game and finally beat the Canucks. And one of the reporters, right after in what we call the gangbang, where everybody's standing around the locker getting guys' quotes, asked Sergei Zholtak about, hey, is it good to finally have this monkey off your back beating the Canucks? And Zholtak looks the guy in the eye and just goes, I don't care about monkey. In his little, in his Russian accent. And it was a fantastic quote and a great moment. He was a good guy to cover, and that's the quote or the moment that stuck with me when I found out he died in Darby Hendrickson's arms playing in a Euro League somewhere a few years later from some random heart attack. It was amazing.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back to wrap it up.
Okay, last year, 2013, I lived just down the road, Pleasant Avenue, just a few blocks here from Uptown Pond, which is right on the corner of Lake and Pleasant. And, there were a couple of times, you just try to get that next payday, maybe a couple bucks short. If you've got some items, jewelry, diamonds, electronics, I mean, you come down here, and then they give you a fair price for it, and then you come back a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever, you get it back at a real reasonable price.
We're very competitive, we hope, on different ends, different articles, computers, electronics, TVs, jewelry. We buy, we give loans, and we also have emphasis on diamond jewelry too, that we also try and give credit for the best we can. We're specialists in that area also, so it's an all-round sort of combination.
Well, it's a great place. It's a nice, clean place, honest people, and I tell you what, it's got a real family feel to it. As a matter of fact, I think Strauss family, and I go way back with the late great Jerry. So, I mean, these are people I know and people I trust. You can find them on Twitter, too, by the way. They're at Uptown Pond, and also on Facebook, Uptown Pond and uptownpond.net.
I miss Jerry Strauss. I mean, just salt of the earth. I just mentioned his name in that spot, but I mean, you're not going to find a more faithful, loyal friend. God rest his soul. I mean, I'm telling you. The night I got arrested, I got arrested late. It was like, if I remember correctly, it was midnight-ish. I mean, and so I was probably booked and processed and everything by like 2 or so in the morning. And like it's 7 in the morning, they're waking me up telling me my lawyer's there. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have a lawyer come. When do you talk? Sure enough, it's Jerry. I mean, Mark Kelly was
How did he
also,
find out? He wasn't your phone call.
I left. You get more than one phone call. You get a little card, and you can make numerous phone calls. I think I got one. I think I left messages. Well, you probably
and it was
got
this
arrested in a
asshole.
hillbilly.
That's right. We should tell that story. Can I tell
Yes,
you the night
please
Jeff
do.
Dubay got arrested story?
The night I got arrested.
From my perspective.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Just keep it clean. Don't get me in trouble this time.
No, this has nothing actually to do with you. That's the best part.
Okay. Oh, sweet.
It was the night of Midnight Madness for the Gopher basketball team, and I was covering it for Big Ten Network. So I was at the barn doing stand-ups every half hour or whatever it was. They were going all around. A prominent Minnesota basketball figure came up to me and said, "Hey, did you hear about Jeff Dubay?" I said, "No." And he was like,
You said this would have nothing to do with me. I don't like where this is going.
but this is just it's not funny. But you
teasing. Well,
he was
no.
like, yeah, he just got arrested for meth, and I was like,
It was
what?
not meth.
I
That
know
was a
that. Well, yeah, but it wasn't even. It was like So he's asking me, and I think I might have even texted you and said, hey, because I was like, hey, what's up with Jeff? I just heard he got arrested for meth, and then I think the next day in the paper, then it came out that it wasn't, or maybe a couple days later or whatever. But anyway, so there was somebody, a prominent Minnesota basketball figure, spreading false rumors about you.
Prominent basketball figure.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, it was, but he wasn't spreading. He probably had heard it from somebody else. But anyway, that's how I found out that you had your
the
situation
Pioneer Press,
at Midnight Madness at the Gophers.
The Pioneer Press jumbled up a couple digits and of the police report, and that turned. I had a half a gram of crack cocaine. It's a $50 piece. It's like about it's smaller than a dime. I mean, when I say smaller than a dime, I mean like the coin a dime. I mean, I'm not saying it was insignificant. It's a big deal, and it was stupid.
Any crack is a lot of crack.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, let's be
You can't
honest.
just smoke a little bit of crack.
Trace amounts of crack.
That is
It was
correct.
still crack.
Well, I'm not
Oh,
saying
shit, it was just a little bit crack? Let him go.
Well, no, but the report had me with like an ounce of meth, and
Right.
like dealer,
Right.
intent to distribute, like kingpin, drug guy.
Do you want to hear our?
Son
That's
of
a
a
whole
meth.
different story.
I mean, it was. I mean, it was.
Can we tell our crackhead story?
That's borderline.
Do you like
Our
a good
wives
crackhead
going to
story?
listen to the podcast.
I have no idea what your wives are doing. You guys are married? I thought you were dating. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa,
I'm
both.
just
But
kidding.
Well, in the past.
Well, you guys, I never see you. I mean,
do you think you could appreciate a good crackhead story?
Well, yeah. I mean, trust me, I'm very self-deprecating.
We're going circa, I don't know,
just be careful.
As long as it's not about
1998 or
me.
99.
Just be careful where
1998.
you walk with this one.
We are at the Press Bar and Parlor in St. Cloud, if you've ever been there. It's right on the corner.
50-cent tacos,
It's
baby.
50-cent tacos. It's Saturday night, I think.
Sure, they're overpriced.
In college, 50-cent
Yeah.
tacos is a big deal.
So
Yeah.
and we're there early. Like they start at 8 o'clock or so. So we're there early. We get a table.
7:45
Yeah.
we're there for 50-cent
And a
tacos
couple,
and beers.
two girls walk in. One of them we sort of quasi knew, and the other one we didn't know. We're like, hey, and they sit down at our table.
Are these the girls who pretend to fuck somebody who
No,
they
that was
don't know who it is?
that was way later.
Oh, that's St. Paul.
Different
We're
horse,
gonna
St.
Jeffrey.
Paul horse.
Different
So we're already,
horse,
it's like
My
8
bad.
o'clock,
My
and we're
bad.
already locked in. And we're like, okay, well, this is cool, and then whatever. And then the one girl started talking to me, the one girl kind of started talking to him, and then blah, 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 blah,
She
blah.
didn't just start talking to you. She was all about
She
you
was
from the
yeah,
first moment.
It was easy money.
Jungle
At like,
Fever.
it was easy money at like 8 o'clock. So you're making assumptions.
Why is it always good? We didn't say the girls' race.
Yeah.
We
You're
didn't say
right.
the
Well,
girls'
it's St.
race.
Cloud. Come on.
But she wasn't from St. Cloud. The thing that
Ooh.
the hook that
Well, yeah,
I knew
okay.
her high
the
school
surrounding communities
mascot or
aren't
something like
exactly,
that.
you know.
Right. So
racial-
that's not
racially
even the point of
All
the
right.
story.
Your racism is not the
All
point
right.
here.
So it's 8 o'clock. We're locked in. That's time to go. I think we stopped at Coburn's and got like some frozen pizzas or something, and then
Probably.
drove out. Then they didn't go to St. Cloud State. They lived like the one girl lived like out on the
Townies,
west
baby.
side of town, going out towards
Did
like
they
the
have
stop.
teeth? Were they inbred?
Well, no, but
Did they have Stearns County syndrome?
no.
How
But that's
far
not the point of the
apart
story
were
either.
her eyes?
Okay.
How far apart were
So
her
the
eyes?
end of the night. Okay, the girl that I've been talking to was talking to me. Okay,
That's real stuff.
we think this is gonna happen like in the living room on the couch because it was like her and then she had a roommate, right?
Just
Yeah.
lazy.
And the roommate
I
had
didn't know
their
you were
own,
getting these stories.
the roommate had her own section of
She
the
had
house.
the roommate.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And then so LP being the guy he is wingman in it, right?
Okay.
I took one for the team
Yeah,
that night. Let me
they're
just tell
back
you
in the
right
bedroom.
now.
I'm in the living room with this girl. Things about to happen. She starts crying and goes, "You don't know what it is to need crack."
Oh,
and then
Jesus.
she goes, "You don't know." And sorry, her dealer called, and she hung up. She was like talking to this guy, and she's like, she hangs up. She starts crying. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. And she goes, "You don't need to know what it is to need crack. You don't need to know." So I'm like, oh,
Jesus.
So that wrecks the whole deal. Right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what those are.
Well, yeah, so we're sitting there, but
Wait
he's
a
still
second.
in the
He's got
room.
Barry White going in the background.
Who
He's
are
got a
you?
couple candles burning.
Oh, come
so
on.
she's freaking out. And then
Who are you to
she's
turn
got
down
a
a
light
crack
bulb
hole?
that
Yeah,
she's breaking
he
or-
comes out to like go to the bathroom or something, and I go and I start punching him in the
Oh no,
chest.
you knocked on the door
Oh, was that what it was?
to the room
Okay.
that I was
Said,
in.
we're getting out of here because this chick's on crack.
and I'm
he
like-
punches me me in the chest, full bore.
I'm like,
We're
she's on
leaving.
crack. She's on crack. Yeah.
And I go, why? Why are we leaving? Because I'm busy.
With the one that doesn't need crack.
I go, why are we leaving? Well, I was taking one for the team. I was doing my work.
Yeah.
So,
But Ron's judgmental.
so he punched me in the chest.
She, instead of getting down, wanted to talk about being a crackhead. She didn't want it. Like, it was the whole moment was wrecked.
And he goes, she's a crackhead. I said, shut up. Just go. And he's like, no.
He's like, no, literally.
She's actually a crackhead.
Yeah, she's crying this whole thing, and then we have to walk of shame. Like,
So we had to walk
8
of shame
miles,
a bunch
and it's
of,
like
yeah,
March,
it's
and we have
cold.
short sleeve shirts on this whole deal.
Because we're at the bar, so we're wearing
it
our
was
sweet guy
awful.
shirts.
So you let a crackhead drive you home?
No, we walked of
we
shame
wept.
it.
No, to her house.
No, it was the other girl's house.
Okay,
Oh, okay,
we
well,
she
did
was
let
visiting.
a crackhead drive us home before knowing she was a crackhead.
sounds
But
like
it
a-
wasn't the crackhead's house. It was the other girl's house.
It's like a
true.
scene from
Yeah.
Cedar Rapids.
But anyway, that's
You ever
our
seen
It's like,
crackhead story.
it's like any scene from
It
St.
was
Cloud.
terrible. Because they're like at 8 o'clock. You never
No, I mean
locked
the
in at
movie,
8
not
o'clock
the
and go, yeah, this
city.
is going to happen. Usually
Right.
you're sidewalk shopping at 2 o'clock,
Right.
right? And then, but
Sidewalk
now
shopping. That's how they
it's
roll in
over.
St. Cloud. That's how they roll
That's
in
how
St.
they
Cloud.
roll everywhere.
No, dude. I have to be
Actually,
in a
1
relationship
o'clock.
to get laid. It's so
got to be
sad.
1 o'clock. Back
I mean,
then it was 1
Well,
o'clock.
back then it was
yeah,
1 o'clock,
1 o'clock
yeah.
sidewalk
I don't even.
shopping.
Casual sex is a rumor to me. I got to be deep in a relationship to even have a prayer.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't live a good
Sorry.
life. I don't
Have
live.
a good life.
You should spend more time at
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come up to the
St.
press
Cloud
with
and
us, Tinder.
But I know
Taco night.
The woman would be thinking I'm looking deeply into her eyes, and in reality, I'm just trying to figure out how far apart they are and see if she's inbred.
She can't see because she's
Stearns
drunk.
County syndrome is fully legit.
It is completely legit.
Oh, yeah.
That's an inbred capital of the Upper Midwest.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
I was at the Crossroads Mall in St. Cloud one time and watched a guy walking by me with the full-on duster, you know, the long western black coat that goes down to, like, your ankles, right?
Oh, yeah, what a
The
hillbilly.
guy that's going to
He's
kill people.
He's 350, and he's maybe 6 feet.
How far apart are his eyes?
Yeah, pretty far.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's walking. He's got a Santa hat on, full black duster. This is around holiday time, and he's got real, legit spurs jangling on his
Wow.
boots
No.
as he's walking through Crossroads Mall with
Well, that's-
sweatpants. So sweatpants, duster,
Spurs. Did they have a
Santa
cowboy
hat,
Oh,
and
Santa,
spurs.
Santa hat. I missed that
Santa
part.
Jeff
hat
wants to hear about
and
the time you got
spurs.
locked up.
That's messed up. You got locked up?
I did get my
Brother.
one phone call was this
Brother.
asshole.
Oh. What were you locked up for? Drinking and driving?
It was a random like unpaid ticket.
I was driving.
He got DWB'd in Stearns County.
What's that mean?
And, yeah.
Driving while black?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Outstanding joke.
Oh,
but the-
shit, he's giving me a
everybody
ride
missed it.
home.
right.
I don't want to get pulled over.
We were in
So he
Malacca
was
or
sober
someplace.
cab,
I want
actually.
you give me a ride home?
You're in Minneapolis. You'll be
No,
fine.
I'm just.
No, I was
we're on
sober.
messing with you.
No, he was our sober
Thank
cab.
God.
Yeah.
We were at somebody's like grad party. This
It was
is
Danny.
in
it
college.
was
Dan Fredette,
yeah.
our good guy Dan
At
Fredette
the
from
Forston
Malacca.
Funhouse.
Yeah, Forston Funhouse. We're at the in Forston, which is actually
Not
called
called
the
that,
Funhouse,
but
the
it's the
powerhouse.
bar in Forston. Yeah.
Called the powerhouse. We're at a bar in Forston,
And you got pulled over because you're
and he's
black?
sober cab. I don't know if you were speeding or not.
I was going quickly.
He didn't get a speeding ticket. I know that.
No, I didn't get a speeding ticket.
So the cop pulls him over, and we got 3 of us in the car. It's us and our friend Billy.
And they asked for IDs.
So they asked for everybody's IDs, right?
Yep.
And you had an outstanding warrant.
And I had an outstanding warrant for like an unpaid registration or something.
Yep.
So it's no
all
dime
it
bag of
takes.
crack. Sorry. It's not as
Jeez,
good.
Wow.
I'm getting judged left and right.
Wow.
This is horrible.
It's
I
not
think he
as
was judging
cool as
himself
that.
there. He was like, well, it wasn't, as good as yours.
It's no.
Well, sorry.
So he said, and everybody butchers my name all the time. He didn't know. So he looks at me and goes, yeah.
And he's
that's
sitting
me.
in the back of my two-door Escort.
So I gotta like climb over Ron to get out of it. And he
they-
goes, hey, did you know you got an unpaid ticket in Stearns County for the? And I said, no, I didn't know that. And bam, cuffs, face on the back of the car.
See, why do you have to be dicks about
And I'm
it?
like, what? I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it took me a minute to put it together why the hell I had. So yeah, so they take me in
Yeah.
and book me, and I call him and our other friend who was with us.
We were on our way downtown though to St. Cloud. We were leaving this party going to St. Cloud, and me and my friend Billy, who was in the passenger seat, had to think for about 10 seconds if we should go to the bar or go get him. But
Yeah.
Dude, I
So I give him my cash card. I hand it to like the bailiff or whoever the hell is at the
it was
jail.
Rusty.
I don't know who the hell the tweener. He's not a cop, but he's like runs the front desk at the jail. I hand him my cash card, give these guys my secret code. They go get the $200 bail money, bail me out with my cash card, and then we just went to the bar downtown after that. So I went right from
So
jail to
night
the bar.
continues.
Yeah,
It was a great story at the
But it
bar.
took
Where'd
a
you
good
come from,
hour
Jared?
of
I
our
can't
drinking
believe
time
they
away.
had to be all tough with you and throw your face down and
Yeah,
put the cuffs
for an
on.
unpaid
I
registration
mean, come on.
ticket.
Yeah, it's not like you're wanted for
That's
murder
ridiculous.
or anything.
Right.
And I didn't get
Seriously.
anything.
I mean, I had a flat tire on Christmas Eve. So I pulled over to the side of the road on Christmas Eve. I had this is 15 years ago. I had a suspended license, and I didn't know this. I had no idea my license was suspended because It had to do with an unpaid electric bill from an apartment that I shared with somebody, and I moved out, and they stopped paying the bill, and it was in my name. So my license they had got a judgment against me and suspended my license, and I got friggin' pulled in on Christmas effing Eve because of an electric bill. I mean, this is...
electric bills go up during Christmas because of the lights.
But I mean, come on. I got out right away, but it's Christmas Eve. I mean, goodwill towards man. Go fuck yourself. Anyway.
You started this out with fuck somebody, and you just ended it with go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well,
that's the deal.
That's what we call a bookend.
Or no, that's suck it.
Who's the suck it tonight? Suck it, Bucky, Wisconsin Badgers. Fuck you. Get your ass kicked in the Big Ten championship game. You suck. You're a bunch of drunk idiots.